Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Got an interesting show set up for today. While I was messing around on Twitter, I found out about a couple of E. coli outbreaks. And, well, the comments from people who don't understand some of the ways you can get E. coli. It's quite disgusting. But hey, that's life is life. Let's check the YouTube audio. I appear to be at like a terrible frame rate, but if the audio is fine, we'll work with it. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I've got some articles I pulled out from Inside EVs, but that's not what I wanted to do because I actually pulled some for today's show. Just a little something to talk about. So I need to open up. How do I want to do this? Let's just open them in the window with the Inside EV stuff. Got a couple tweets to start out with. Let's start with them. And then we've got not really new to us, but it's official now. So we'll go with that. And then we'll load some more articles up after that. And I say tweets. They're called posts now on the social media platform known as X. All right. All right. So we don't know if chat is working, but how is everyone doing out there today? You might notice I might appear a little grainy because the lights are once again not participating in this event. And I forgot to spit out my chewing gum. Okay. So first up is a post from Tesla Asia. Let's share screen here. No, not the entire screen. That would be itty bitty text. All right. There. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to move this over here. And then we're going to move the notes over here. Just because it's easier to deal with when they're this way. Okay, so Gigafactory Shanghai has achieved 2 million production milestone. So we went from, in under a year, a muddy field to a fully producing factory. So now they've reached their 2 millionth production. Electric cars will never be a thing, huh? There we go. One more gigas. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, there's this report about a muddy field. This lady put that out, and yeah, she's never lived it down. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about another post. I guess I have it as a post, but it really should be a link to Electric. There we go. Share instead. Okay, so the yoke has had a little bit of a price adventure. It went from being standard. It was the only thing you could get on the new Palladium cars from the new Model S and Model X to being a zero cost option. You could pick if you wanted a round wheel or a yoke. Then it was $250, and then earlier this week it became a $1,000 option. And this isn't like an accident. It's gone up by a similar amount worldwide. Well, worldwide in the places you can order an S and an X, I should say. What's up, Lee? How's it going? Trying to stay out of sleep deprivation, but other than that, pretty good. Let's see. All right, so we talked about the yoke. Wasn't really much to say about that. As I said here, this isn't news here about Honda has adopted the NAX, and Honda and Acura, Honda the company. We talked about this previously when they gave their previous response on this, where it was like, whatever comes with the platform, that's what we're going to use. And now it's come out that Honda and Acura are part of the Supercharger coalition. So they have elected to work with Tesla to get you supercharger access in 2024 with adapters and in 2025 with native ports, just like everybody else who's a part of the Supercharger coalition. Although the last group to announce before Honda did their previous statement, they made it seem like they were only going to start in 2025. But then when you read the follow-ups and looked into it further, they actually were doing the same as everybody else. But I guess they were so late, they didn't think they would be dealing with adapters. But it's available to their customers. The only reason I can think they did it that way, other than trying to be simplistic with it, was that they're probably not going to give you the adapters for free for the customers who buy between now and 2025 model year. Why do I say model year? Because unless everybody does a half model year, the way that the legacy automakers work is that they're not going to have a swap to the ports. 'Cause, I mean, that's a major change. They're not going to have a swap to the ports in the middle of the model year unless they do like a 2025 and a half or something. So when they say 2025, Tesla never mentioned it. So when the automakers say 2025, it's safe to assume that perhaps they mean the 2025 model year, which could be as early as the summer of 2024, depending on when they get their certification from the EPA and how quickly they want to just roll out the new model years. And some of them will do it in the summer. Most of them you'll see around this time of year to October to November. They don't usually like to be as late as November unless they have like a part shortage or they've got a new car coming out and they have stock of the old car, stuff like that. Let's see what we've got here. This next one is just the Honda press release saying the same thing. So let's give that a skim. Let's see, September 7th. Honda announced today has reached an agreement with Tesla to adopt Tesla's North. It's not really Tesla's NACS anymore. It's whatever. Uh, NACS for the charging port of its EV models that will go on sale in North America starting from 2025. In 2025, Eddie says everyone's fallen in line, even in Honda. Yeah. So we've got left out. We've got Toyota, Lucid, and the Koreans. And I think other than that, everybody's on board. Oh, and Volkswagen, the company, is thinking about it. But the Koreans and Volkswagen have been thinking about it, so I guess they're not really off. And also, Volkswagen owns Electrify America and Electrify Canada, and they are on board. So to say that Volkswagen is not there at all would not be accurate. But so far, Volkswagen hasn't committed to putting the ports on their car or to letting you use the supercharger network just yet. What's up, Robert? Long time no see. Good to see you. All right, so I'm not saying you haven't been here watching. It's been a while since we chatted there. I've got some videos of yours I got to catch up on. Been hectic out here in the day to days. So let's see. In 2025, Honda is planning to launch a new EV model in North America equipped with an NACS port. From that point forward, Honda will continue adopting the NACS standards for its models. EV models the company will launch in North America before 2025, which will be equipped with a combined charging system port, or CCS, are also being developed to be compatible with the NACS through the use of a charging adapter. There's your adapter. Boop, boop. In North America, Honda recently announced that it has agreed to establish a joint venture with 7 automakers. Asterisk. Why is there an asterisk? Oh, they're telling me who they are. BMW, General Motors, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz Group, Stellantis, and V. All right. So anyway, yeah, we're going to join the superchargers, and this thing that has uh, just a paper agreement so far. They've literally accomplished nothing so far. To build a high power charging network for EVs with the aim of building a reliable charging infrastructure. Well, I don't want to say nothing. They've agreed that they want to build a charging network that has CCS and NACS nationwide or continent wide. But either way, that's as far as we got. We got an agreement and a bunch of press releases. I don't even think they've had a meeting yet beyond the press releases. Uh, Aim of building a reliable charging infrastructure. In addition to this initiative, Honda has agreed to adopt the NACS to enable its customers to use Tesla supercharging stations, which will significantly enhance the charging experience or charging convenience. Honda will continue offering reliable and convenient charging environment for its customers to achieve widespread EV adoption and support Honda's efforts to realize carbon neutrality. You run a little slow there. All right, so um, you can have NACS and not do supercharging. However, that's it's not a smart thing to do for your customers because if you've got the port that'll fit a supercharger plug and they get to a supercharger and they can't turn it on, that's not a good experience. Now, another thing they could do is not do the supercharger agreement and then hope their customers know to come to the charge your non-Tesla sites and then use the Tesla app, which is also not what you want to have happen. So this is why, like Eddie said, they're all getting in line. This is why I think that by 2025, everybody will be there. Uh, I'm hoping that by 2024 model year, everybody will be there, but we're running out of room here because we're now at the middle of September, approaching the end of September, and October is when the most number of next model years start to hit the market. So uh, the ones that are going to do it with adapters, I mean, you can still use the same port and have everything ready, and then just announce your announcement later in the year. You could do that, but when your competitors have already announced and promised the adapter and are selling the CCS car, and you've got a CCS car but no agreement, no statement, and your car is interchangeable with your competitor's cars, that's just giving your competitors an advantage because obviously the Teslas can do it. Aptera can do it, but they aren't shipping cars yet, and they don't really have any direct competitors. But if I'm looking at a Toyota BZ4X and a Nissan Ariya, aside from the fact that the Nissan Ariya doesn't have any published cold charging problems, if I was, you know, looking at the Ariya and the BZ and I only did daily commuting and the occasional long trip, and I only used them in nice weather, uh, then I would still lean towards the Ariya because then when I do want to take my long trips, I can charge at Electrify America, Electrify Canada, anywhere else. And whenever they release my adapter, I would then be able to charge at the Tesla superchargers as well. Whereas on the Toyota, I would be stuck with only CCS at the moment. Same goes for the Volkswagen ID4. They are in discussions, so it's not as scary, but discussions aren't a guarantee for me as a customer before I drop 25 to 50 grand on a mid-size crossover. And there's again, this is not a guarantee from the automaker, but there's a little hope in that we keep seeing the ID4 show up in Tesla marketing. When the universal wall connector showed up, they were charging a Model Y and an ID4, but it still isn't Volkswagen coming out saying, "Hey, we're putting it on our cars." So I would be hesitant before making the investment as a consumer. All right, so that's this one. Let's see what else we've got in our notes. Yes, that one was pretty cool. We talked about Highland last week, but there was something we didn't mention. All right, let's see. Let's share this tab instead. Close that. So on Project Highland, we talked about how your emergency gear shifter is up here. We talked about all the enhancements, such as the improved fuel economy through aerodynamics, the new wheel, etc., etc. But there's a little blind spot indicator that shows up right here, in addition to the diorama that you get from the picture of the car's ego on the screen. The ego is just the car's sense of self. Whatever it sees of itself and its surroundings and draws on the screen for you, they call that ego. And actually, that's a representation of the ego. The ego is just like you and us. Uh, it's conceptual. It's a sense of self. But in order for us to know that the car sees the the flock of Canada goose walking across the street, or that kid on the side of the road, or that stopped car in front of you, they have to also draw what the car thinks is important for you to know that it sees. And so they had the blind spot on that display. But on all the new cars except the S and the X, you can see that this is kind of out of your line of sight. And so you get a little red line here is not all that useful. And the whole fleet would do what I call the mouse farts, where you get a little beep, beep, beep hearing test as you are about to careen into something, signal on or otherwise. Um, the mouse farts are a little too late. So what they've done is they've listened to feedback of everybody requesting for blind spots, and they put a little light right in the speaker grill of the new Highland Model 3, which is just called the Model 3, the new Model 3. And because it's in the speaker grill, you won't see it except when it's lit, and it give you a little. And since you should already be checking your mirrors as you're moving about anyway, even if you forget to signal, you've now got a little reminder that you shouldn't be just shifting over, or at least to check the mirror to see what it sees first. This is a common thing throughout the industry. A little light either on the outside of the mirror or on the inside near the mirror, and Tesla chose to go with on the inside near the mirror. And I would suggest they probably did this because Elon keeps talking about how if it's legal in your place, you can take your mirrors off your Cybertruck. Well, if they put them on the mirror, then your blind spot indicator would be gone if you took your mirrors off. So a little brand consistency to put them all in the same spot. I still wish there was a screen in front of the Cybertruck. What's the point of the wheel yoke or the woke if there's nothing that a wheel is blocking? Unless it saves them in material or something. I don't know, because the wheel yoke is smaller. Robert asks, "Did I see the electric bin lorries I sent you? The live stream as well, so they're on strike here now." I haven't caught up on all of my messages yet, but I will take a look. And we did talk about briefly a electric trash truck that just went on sale. So I'm wondering if it's just the North American version of what you've already got out there, or perhaps what you've already got out there is a conversion from a fossil, which is even better because that would be recycling, reusing, all that. All right. So next up, we've got an article. We had an article. It took me to the MSN homepage. So what was it before that? Uh, all three refresh. Oh, it was a finance article, and it was Tesla to supply Hilton hotels with EV chargers by. So let me do a search real quick and get it back. Be glad it wasn't one of them coded URLs where I couldn't tell what the article was about. And so now we're getting it from The Verge instead of whoever was there before. Their loss. Close these search windows and share this tab instead. And not only are we getting it from The Verge, but still on Microsoft. All right, thank you. Um, Tesla's going to install up to 20,000 versatile EV chargers at Hilton locations. And so this part right here leads me to believe they are the new um, universal wall connectors, the Gen 3s, three and a half, three and a quarters. Basically, the Gen 3 chargers with the Magic Dock built in, the level 2 Magic Dock. Let's see, they're teaming up to install 20,000 charging stations at Hilton's, and the project will kick off in early 2024. I wonder if it's the same adapter manufacturer as for the legacy makers. And the chargers are slated for installation at 2,000 locations in the US, Canada, and Mexico. Wait a minute. So 20,000 at 2,000. That's a lot of chargers at one hotel. Unless some are going to have a lot more than others. But let's see. Uh, I mean, we're looking at a minimum of 10 per site, but some of these places have so little parking that you could expect to see 20 at like the self parking areas. This will be interesting to see. Eddie says electric bin lorry sounds so much different than electric trash truck. Yeah, it does sound more respectable. um, the Dennis EV 10 ton, same as the diesel one. Ah, interesting. I am looking forward to watching that video. Um, all right, so Hilton states this is the largest planned EV network by any hospitality company on paper. There's enough chargers to have 10 per location, but distribution may vary. And that's what I was just doing with the math there. Hilton says that at least 6 will be installed at any location. There we go. I knew it wasn't going to be just here they are. They're even. Um, just because some of them have such a pathetic parking experience. Not Hilton in general, just some cities are just lousy for parking. And then others have more parking than they'll ever need in a lifetime for people who don't even live there. Just because we have, what is it, like a minimum of 2 and some change parking spots per car on average in this country. Um, and so, yep, so they are talking about the universal wall connector charger, which is what Hilton is using. Specifically can power share with up to 6 matching. So that's why they're doing a minimum of 6. So they're going to do the power share. The AC level 2 chargers are rated to provide up to 44 miles of range per 2 Teslas per hour at 11.5 kilowatts or 48 amps. So they can put them on a sub circuit, and then they'll talk to each other, and they'll automatically vary the charge rate based on what your car needs. So if your car is at almost done charging, and I say that my car will draw 72 amps until it hits my charge limit. But if I were to go to 100% charge, it will slow down as it approaches 100. But if I stop it at 80, stop it at 90, 72, and then pop, cuts off. So I guess if a car is busy running Sentry mode or uh, doing updates, or well, I guess not doing updates that cuts the charger off. Basically, if your car is not drawing the full uh, power, it will allow that amount of budget to go to the next car, which is pretty cool. Saves you on installation costs and still provides a nice experience for everybody. And there's a video, or actually a still shot from the video that Tesla gave us that we saw previously with the VW, where they were using the Magic Dock in the universal charger on the VW. Or if you just pull it out without pushing the button, then you get just the NACS connector. All right, let's leave Tesla for a minute. Polestar is to launch a premium smartphone alongside the Polestar 4. Now, this is an article I pulled out but did not read, just because we've always been hearing about, oh, the Tesla phone is coming, the Tesla phone. Like anybody wants such a thing. Polestar vehicles run Android Automotive, which is different than Android Auto that you cast from your phone to the head unit. And So they've got some experience running Android, and they have cellular modems in their cars, so it's not a huge leap into smartphones. Let's find out more. Let's see. Uh, Strengthen their presence in Chinese EV market, where tech-savvy consumers crave cutting-edge features. So is this a phone you buy separately, or is it like a phone that comes in the car like we used to have with like BMW and Mercedes and other high-end? They had like the phone in the dash. Interesting. We also had the bag phones. Should be a different concept than a bag phone, sure. Polestar won't just be launching a car, uh, the fourth in its lineup, but also a Polestar branded smartphone through a partnership with Chinese smartphone maker Jingxi Meiju, owned by Geely. So they're just picking up phones from their sister company then, because Geely owns Volvo and Polestar and a number of others, and apparently this phone company. Uh, Thomas, not even gonna try. Thomas, the CEO of Polestar, revealed news of a smartphone in an interview with CNBC, who said the phone will be a premium device that works seamlessly with the car. Can you imagine you pick up a used Polestar and it's missing the phone because the owner didn't put it back? Or you have an opportunity to link these two worlds without any border, then you can seriously have a seamless transition. I don't know, but what if you want to use your iPhone or Samsung or whatever? This is interesting. The initiative enables Polestar to bundle software, apps, services, and features that enhance the overall driving experience, such as remote car control via the smartphone. You don't need to make a phone to do that. You've got that with the Tesla and Rivian apps, probably the Polestar app too. I know Ford lets you do stuff through their app. GM, their app has been through many phases, so I know there's some stuff in there too. It also provides valuable insights to customer habits, allowing car makers to tailor their offerings more effectively. That could be part of it because they can see where you go after you get out of the car. Hey, we noticed you just went to the jewelry store. Would you like to make a dinner reservation for two? All right, your car's going to drive you there. Just hold on to the wheel. Actually, I don't know if there's as hands-free or hands-on driver assist features. Keep looking out the front window for sure. While that may seem unusual for an automaker to venture into the smartphone market, Polestar's move reflects a broader industry trend. Chinese EV startup Neo is set to launch its own self-developed mobile. Really, Neo too? Maybe it's a Chinese thing. You get a Chinese car, it comes with a phone. After the way they treat the Teslas, though, I mean, I would be I'd be hesitant to use said phone, just because, again, if it's something they're afraid of, it means it's probably something they consider doing themselves. They don't want the Teslas driving around their executives and their government officials or through their military bases. And now they're putting a phone in their car. All right, then. I know that's conspiracy theory esque, but again, if they are afraid that we're doing it, that means that they have considered doing it themselves, or they are planning to do it themselves. No proof of that, obviously, but to get such ideas, they don't happen out of the blue. All right, let's load up some more articles. We've got one from Electrek about electric e-bikes. They've recalled 45,000 XP 3.0 e-bikes due to mechanical brake issues. Yeah. Um, it's important for EVs to be able to go. It's more important for them to be able to stop. It really, really is not pleasant if they don't go, but if they don't stop, that's deadly or potentially deadly, I should say. So, the recall is related to a braking issue with the mechanical brake calipers on the e-bikes. The mechanical disc brake calipers located on the front and rear of the e-bike can fail, resulting in loss of control, posing crash and injury hazards to the rider. The recall covers approximately 45,000 electric XP 3.0 e-bikes with mechanical brakes sold between November 2022 and May of 2023. So if you've got one of these, reach out and find out what you got to do to get your brakes fixed, and stop riding it until then, unless the instructions tell you conditions that you can check to continue to ride it. And why is this worse than a regular bike? A regular bike without brakes is dangerous on its own, but an e-bike can reach faster speeds. And I'm not saying that these are non-compliant ones, or they probably wouldn't have a recall. But the non-compliant ones can reach extra legal speeds. Well, a pedal bike can speed as well, and you get a speeding ticket on a pedal bike. But we're talking at speeds that you are no longer safe just jumping off and bailing. So if you or somebody you know has electric e-bike, make sure it's not one of these. I'm gonna keep this tab open just because I don't know if I saw something in the corner that I don't know if I pulled out or not. I read it, but I don't know if I pulled out. Let's click into here and back to here. All right, so we've got some more X posts. Yep, I did pull it up, so I can close that article once we move on to the next one. All right, we'll share this tab instead. ERCOT has declared an energy emergency. ERCOT is the Texas regulatory industry, or the Texas power. I don't think it's an individual power provider. I think it's their power regulator. Drawing a blank right now, but that's who they are. They're in Texas. Declared an energy emergency. This was likely a big power plant tripping off tripping offline. See the frequency drop below storage sent, and that's an awkwardly worded end of and start of a sentence. So see the frequency drop below. So storage set an all-time record when it was needed most, almost certainly preventing rolling outages. Um, and that's always been one of the advantages of grid scale battery storage. It reacts instantly, whereas peaker plants and pumped hydro and most of the other options for energy storage at the grid scale, other than batteries, they take a certain amount of time to get up to operating speed or pressures, or they can't respond as quickly as a battery, which is practically solid state. Uh, Now, a solid state battery would be even better, but we're talking milliseconds versus uh, seconds to minutes to spool up and do what they got to do. So let's take a look here. We got a fuel mix. Uh, all right, so this person has turned off their search for everything that's not power storage. So power storage, I don't know what the scale is. Is this hours? It's like hours, 0 to 24 hours. And at 1919, power storage delivered 2.172 gigawatts, or 2.8% of the grid power right there. Other provided 105 megawatts. So the other would be the power plants that didn't fail, or solar or hydro. Not that you have much hydro in Texas, or wind. That you do have a lot of that in Texas, um, and the nukes, of course. So that is impressive, and they did it. And we're not talking like seconds. They did it over a period of 1919 was the peak. It looks like it started around 17 through shortly either at 8 o'clock or shortly after 8 o'clock, or shortly like until 8 o'clock. It was still pumping in there because it stopped at updated on 1954. That's impressive. Next, daily PRC operating reserves. I'm guessing this is when the plant shut down, the gas plant. And then here's the grid frequency. In North America, we use a 60 hertz grid. So you don't want your frequency to leave this range right here, the 60, just like really tight to 60. This dip down to the 59 and change is terrible. And it could have been worse, that's what the poster was saying there. You don't want to get faster either, because that's not good either. Chris H is asking where the storage is coming from. And the poster responds, Chris, this map from S&P Platts shows it very well, or shows it well. It's extremely geographically diverse within the ERCOT footprint. Let me know if that's not the info you were looking for. And then there's an article. Unfortunately and weirdly, no Q2 additions to ERCOT, but lots in the queue. I'm not sure if the lack of additions in Q2 had anything to do with ERCOT's recent anti-storage stance. Read Texas-style politicians, the stereotypical Texas politicians. Uh, Not all, but the ones you think of when you think of Texas and politics. They've been anti green energy, anti storage, and you remember during the failures of the winter grid where they tried to pin it all on solar and wind when it was really a failure of their gas plants that caused this. Um, so anyway, back to what the guy was saying. Recent anti-storage stance, but it's certainly not helping being the much needed storage, bring that much needed storage onto the grid. And Damon brings up a good point. They have a local company that could solve this problem. Uh, Good thing Tesla is headquartered in Texas. As a utility, they're helping stabilize the grid through their virtual power plant program. So not only do they sell a solution in the mega packs, they also offer a virtual power plant package to existing power companies, which we talked about on the Tesla Life show. They branched out to offering it in Texas through companies that weren't Tesla Energy, as well as they offer it directly with Tesla Energy. Um, as long as their politics don't get in the way. So let's look at the other picture the guy set up, showing us where the batteries are. And yeah, they are very, very evenly distributed where you're going to need them at. Uh, let's see. This is Cunningham, 190 megawatts. This is the largest facility added in Q1 of 2023. All right, let's see. Robert says, send me a pic. Wish you saw a TV program about it here. 50,000 people turning the kettle on, 3,000 watts each same time. Yeah, exactly like that. All right, so that tweet I wanted to share. I'm going to call it a tweet. All right, so people keep telling me, "Oh, the Cybertruck can't be safe. It's going to be too dangerous. It's so square. What about the pedestrians? Blah 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 blah." So to that, my response has always been, Tesla has always talked about safety before everything else. And if they were to suddenly change their stance on that now, it would be a great surprise and a huge failure on their part. Uh, so this crash tested Cybertruck, it did the ditch rollover test. That's the one you've seen the Model Y do, where it's headed towards sideways towards a bank of sand, but there's a little dip, and then it rolls a little bit. Some folks were suggesting that because they didn't understand how this works, they were suggesting that the fact that there was a ditch there was a cheat on the test for the Model X, um, and then some of them also said it for the Model Y, but it was doing the test as described, as prescribed. So anyway, this Tesla Cybertruck went through that same test, and as we can see, the Mega Wiper survived. The interior looks pretty much intact, other than all the airbags and pieces of trim that flew everywhere. The roof was definitely strong, but it did have some impact, and we can see the rear screen, which is standard on the Model 3 now. So why would it not be in the Cybertruck, right? I like that they have cup holders back there. That's gonna be nice. There's definitely some here, and there'll probably still be some down here. Let's see. All right, so Whole Mars got a copy of the video from Control Logistics Inc. Hopefully it's not the transport company, because that will get you in trouble if your customer doesn't want your stuff out there. Or if your customer does want your stuff out there, you can get a little extra charge for providing a video post. All right, let's take a look, and we'll probably have to mute it.
Put it on the hood.
Yeah. And let's make it bigger. All right, so this one's covered, and this is the one that's labeled uh, the rollover ditch test. And we can see it's, you know, it looks like it would protect you through it, and that's what we want. It doesn't look like you'll be able to just oh wow, the side glass and the mirror there. The side glass seemed better off than the roof glass to some extent. But it doesn't look like you'll be able to just pop it back on the road. There'll definitely be some refurbishment required, but looks like your family will be safe, which is what we're after. So next up, we get to see the pedestrian tests, and not today in the show, but what we're looking forward to is we want to see the front end collision, the side impact test, the seat test, as well as actually the seat test might not actually tell us anything new if it's using the exact same seat frames as every other Tesla. The seats do look different in the Palladium cars and the Model 3 and the Y, but they had the same frame. So the front end collision is the other one we want to get, the pedestrian and the front end, and those will be interesting to see. As well as I would like to see the IIHS tests for the hardware for um, driver assistance features, but we can probably see that on a Model Y or um, one of the Palladium cars when they update their testing there. But Cybertruck is bigger and heavier, so it'll react the same, but it will not perform the same because it's got a little bit more weight behind it. All right, let's see what we've got here. So somebody did the favor of zooming in on the label. It's labeled test 87830 Cybertruck. Ditch rollover 2308 1722. So August of 23, maybe the 17th of August, but I don't think so. But 1722 is a very specific kind of time. We're going to do it at 1722. You got to get there on time. Unless this is applied afterwards. And then MGA, I believe, is the name of the testing facility. That might not actually be a date, but it looks like a date to me. This is quite evident on the interior of the vehicle, which we've seen in the video. Cybertruck's cabin remained largely intact after its ditch rollover test. Even the rear display, which was teased recently in an off-roading video, I still haven't seen that off-roading video, seemed undamaged during the crash. The seats looked mostly intact, despite some airbags seemingly having gone off during the test. Versus this one that we saw earlier, where it took me to Twitter. This one that we saw earlier, where Tesla teased us, and the truck never completed the crash test. All right, so let's see in the comments. One person says definitely totaled. One person is a skeptic. Having been through a fast rolling or spinning top type crash, I find this interesting, says another. Another says ship it. I see everyone acting like Cyber, not a truck, is blah 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 safest. Oh, it isn't because they consider it safety first, and it has two, maybe even a third, very difficult design flaws to overcome. All right, who are you? Some engineer? The wheel forward design means the cabin space has been moved forward, so there's less length before the object impacted will be inside the cabin area. Not necessarily, because as Sandy shows us, we've got Sorb, so these wheels here, they can shear off. And look at the size of that dashboard before the car gets to you. So we will ignore this person. People saying that Elon's not that smart, so they can't engineer a safe car. That's clearly a falsehood. Just because Elon isn't that smart at materials engineering doesn't mean that the company doesn't have competent engineers to make a safe car, as we've seen time and again every time one of these cars is tested. Uh, okay, I'm through with these comments. Moving on. All right, back in here with the video with you guys. Moving back over here. Tesla quietly launches Powerwall 3 as installations begin. So a few months ago, we talked about how Powerwall 3 had received certification from a few places. And now we see a customer has actually received a Powerwall 3. It's this little box here. It's not as pretty as it used to be, but it's more energy dense, easier to install, according to Elon. And hopefully, this simpler design means it's cheaper. And notice the lack of full length venting. So, assuming there's no vents on the other side, then it looks like perhaps the casing is now a heatsink. And then this is the energy gateway, which is still of the old um, design. So the power wall used to look like this, but bigger. And now it looks like that. Let's see what else they said about it. So we got a shipping label. Oh, it's heavier than the last one. So because of that, folks are thinking that it has lithium iron phosphates inside, and some folks are saying, "Oh, it can't because it says lithium on the front." But lithium iron phosphates are lithium ion batteries. There's a different chemistry of it than what folks typically think of. Tesla hasn't officially announced the specs, but listed on the side panel, you can see, um, according to our sources, the Powerwall 3 has increased the peak power backup from 10 kilowatt hours in Powerwall 2 to 15.4 kilowatt. Oh, sorry, this person has mixed up their measurements. So the peak surge is 10 kilowatts on Powerwall 2, and they're suggesting that the peak surge is now 15.4 kilowatts on Powerwall 3, and another one of Elon's tweets suggests that now you only need one for your typical house, which is going to save a lot of money because with the 10 kilowatt peak on the previous unit, most homes actually needed two or three to run, whereas now most homes only need one or two to survive their peak load. Let's see. And then here we see a picture of their the label on that Powerwall 3. Let me. We got a battery energy storage system and photovoltaic power conversion equipment. So they've still got the solar inverter inside the Powerwall. So this is actually, well, it is the Powerwall 3, but it's actually a replacement for the Powerwall 2 Plus. 13.5 kilowatt hours. So same amount of energy storage as the previous unit. Battery type says lithium ion. Again, that could be any type of lithium ion battery. Got protective glass, enclosure type, operating temperatures of -20 C to 50 C. D-rated temperature range is 40 C to 50 C. So as it gets hotter, it's gonna back off a little bit. The photovoltaic inverter topology is non-isolated, while the battery energy storage system inverter topology is isolated, and it weighs 130 kilograms. Right, so the battery energy storage system and photovoltaic specifications are 240 volts AC, grid voltage range of 211 volts to 264 volts AC. You've got your AC, you got your phasing, your frequency 60 hertz. Max supply fault current is 10 kiloamps AC. And then you've got a choice of continuous output power at 240 volts. And from what I understand, that is switchable. Switchable as in the software, you can set this rather than having to check one of these boxes. Okay, that's what that was. I felt a sudden blast of heat and smell of my attic. It was the AC turning on very slowly. um, so the battery max continuous input current is 20.8 amps AC. Max continuous input power from the solar is 5 kilovolt amps. Oh, so not it says solar from the battery system again. Power factor of -1 to +1. operating DC input voltage of 60 to 550 volts DC. So that would be either from the other power walls that you have on site or from your solar system, or combine them both. Operating DC MPPT voltage range, that would be just the solar maximum power point tracking, 150 volts to 480 volts DC. So you can have some decent sized strings on this thing. And the max system voltage is 600 volts DC with a photovoltaic max input current of 13.5 amps DC. Let's see, the DC photovoltaic DC arc fault protection is type 1, so that's the type of fusing or circuit breaking it's got on it. And then you've got some codes. It says, wish I had a power wall and solar roof. Yeah, my power wall's on my dad's house. I wish it was on here. 35C, 98% humidity right now in the house. 98%, that's not healthy. I don't know what it is outside unless I open a window, but you're in the UK, so opening a window might make it get to 100% humidity. Um, let's see. One of the bigger changes of the Powerwall 3 is it's much easier to install, a fact highlighted by Musk, who added that it's also optimized for high power. So Musk says that Powerwall 3 is optimized for ease of installation and high power, which means that a single Powerwall can serve as an uninterruptible power supply, or UPS, for most homes. This is a big deal for ensuring that the lights stay on and you can power all of your devices in the event of an outage. And we don't know what the new price is. Hopefully it's cheaper, because if it makes it cheaper for them, then they can make the same profit and lower the price to the customers. And then over at Drive Tesla, they didn't get any comments on it. The superchargers hit a new milestone. They are at 50,000 stalls globally, and I think they said 5,000 stations. Let's see, 50,000 connectors around the world. It comes less than 5 months after they reached 45,000 stalls globally. Exponential growth, baby. The announcement they announced a milestone on X, highlights the humble beginnings of the supercharger network, showing quickly. That's not correctly structured sentence as well. Showing quickly it has expanded, how quickly it has expanded, and is now the largest DC fast charging network in the world. Take that, all the people sneering at them from press releases. September 6th, September 12th, September 2012, 6 superchargers. September 2023, 50,000 superchargers. The future is electric. And this is Tesla, so I probably have to mute it. Yep. So they're mixing the NACS and CCS on there. That's pretty cool. Supercharger network launched in 2012. I think it was like in the winter time with just 6 stations. Despite the small number, they were strategically located to allow Tesla owners to travel between LA and San Francisco and between Boston and Washington, D.C. I do remember that. That's when our friend at the New York Times managed to get lost and miss the superchargers and drive in circles around the supercharger. A supercharger I have visited and was not at all hard to find. Anyway, we also found out later that that Tesla keeps logs, and that when you lie about them repeatedly in a row and they say no, 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 that they'll just publish the logs. And we didn't just find it out with him. We also found it out with all the people saying that their car crashed into something. It's like, no, no, you didn't. Yes, yes, it did. No, we insist. No, the car did it. I'm going to sue you. All right. So at about 5 seconds, the throttle was not applied, and about 3 seconds before the crash, the throttle was applied at 100%, and about 3 seconds past the collision, the throttle was finally released. All right. So yeah, that was just at the milestone right there. Let me load up some more articles for us. All right. Moving on. Let's go to Drive Tesla Canada again. FAA closes the mishap investigation and outlines changes that SpaceX must make before the next Starship launch. So we also saw earlier in the week that Elon said that they'd already applied for the next launch license. So this tells us that either they had seen a draft or some sort of version of this ruling that hadn't been finished yet, and they were ready to go, or that they had an idea of what was going to be in there and had made changes and were ready to go to submit their launch request. However, they are going to have to prove that they are compliant with the new findings before they can actually get that approved. So let's take a look at this. So let's see, FAA closed it, and it has resulted in 63 corrective actions that SpaceX must undertake before it can embark on another mission. In addition to these steps, SpaceX must also obtain a modified launch license from FAA, a process that awaits completion, making it clear the second flight test is not on the immediate horizon. Mhm. Again, it depends on how much of this is actually already done by stuff they've already done. So let's take a look. The corrective actions outlined in the mishap report encompass a range of improvements, including hardware redesign to prevent leaks and fires, bolstering the launch pad's resilience, and conducting comprehensive analysis and testing of systems and components, notably the autonomous flight safety system, which we have seen Elon tweet about. Uh, the and that's basically just the flight termination system, uh, among others. The autonomous flight safety system played a pivotal role in April 20th incident, serving as the mechanism to terminate the flight of the Super Heavy rocket and Starship spacecraft when they veered off course and failed to separate as intended. Elon Musk has noted had noted a significant delay in the system's response during the incident, emphasizing that it took way too long to rupture the tanks. Yeah, they probably, aside from using not enough explosives, but they were probably sized closer to a normal rocket like the Falcon 9 than a mega rocket like the Starship and Saturn V. All right, so SpaceX, let's see. In an update posted to their website on Friday, SpaceX discussed the improvements and changes they have made to Starship since the April launch, including, and when you look at the kind of, there's a little bit of overlap between what SpaceX has said they did and what the government wants them to do. So that's why I think that this may be less of an issue as even Drive Tesla Canada here makes it out to be, but especially the folks out there who have either no following on any of the Musk companies, or worse, the places that have access to grind with either him or his companies, or him through his companies, whether he deserves it or not. Um, so, SpaceX has implemented leak mitigations, improved testing, and expanded fire suppression system on Super Heavy. So we can actually visually see that, like when we looked at the live static fire test that happened while we were on the show a couple weeks ago, and the autonomous flight safety system, or the AFSS, has issued a destruct command when the vehicle deviated from its trajectory, ultimately resulting in the vehicle's breakup. Um, I think that's just a reiteration of what actually happened there. That doesn't sound like a change because they didn't have another launch since then. SpaceX has enhanced and requalified the AFSS for improved reliability. There we go. That's a change. SpaceX is introducing various system performance upgrades, such as hot stage separation system and an electronic thrust vector control, which is a change. I believe the last thrust vector control was hydraulic, and now it's electric for Super Heavy Raptor engines. Significant upgrades have been made to the orbital launch mount and pad to prevent recurrence of pad foundation failure, aka the rocket blowing concrete all over the state. Um, there we go. So now we wait and see when SpaceX sends a finalized response to the government, and if they have to submit a new launch request or just amend the one they have already sent in. And then hopefully we get to see our next test launch. That'll be exciting. Be awesome if it happens like while we're on here. We can just watch it live together. All right, and that got no comments on Drive Tesla. All right, so this one was interesting in that Tesla insurance is now available in more states. It just launched in Minnesota, so in total, Tesla insurance is now available in 12 states, covering a population of nearly 136 million people, or about 40.9% of the US population. I don't know why he asks Elon Musk. Like, Elon didn't know that, but he might not know that. He didn't know the Model X had performance mode, or did not have track mode on the Model X performance. Let's see. I updated my map to show where Tesla's insurance is currently available. Let's blow this up. All right, Virginia and Maryland, but not DC. Ohio, Illinois, Minnesota, Texas, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, California, and Oregon. Well, there we go. And then there's a link to Tesla Insurance if you wanted to try it. But if it's available in your area, you can actually get it from your Tesla app. And then what they'll do is they'll give you an estimate right there in the app. They automatically set your safety score to 90, and then at that point you actually get a safety score in your car, and that safety score will influence your price that you pay every renewal period and every, I think they bill monthly, so every month. Da, 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 da. And for some people, it's a significant savings. For other people like myself, it's a slight price increase. So I didn't go with it. But uh, when it comes to an area I'm in again, we'll see if that math changes at all with the the 90% estimate. I already know I can drive at the 100 level because I'm one of the first group of safest drivers who actually had to pass the test, unlike the safest drivers who came before me that I'm still salty about. Moving on. This one was not really. Oh, my monitor's trying to turn off. This one was unique to me. It was not really a. You'll see. So, Waze keeps removing features, making Google Maps more intriguing. But at the same time, this author at Auto Evolution argues that just because they're taking stuff out of Waze doesn't seem to indicate that they're trying to end Waze, because none of the features that it has that are not in Google Maps have been transitioned yet. So what they're talking about here is on Apple devices and folks in the beta program, and then a few other folks. They no longer have the ability to report uh, police on the other side of the road. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what Waze is, it's navigation, but it's also got a crowdsource feature to it. So um, it's watching everybody travel, it's watching the flow of traffic. It doesn't exactly know where stop signs and traffic control devices are. It just watches the effect of those devices. So, like, as you speed up and slow down, it's watching all of that. But you can also put in stuff like, "Hey, there's an object on the road. Hey, there's a speed trap ahead," or "There's a crash." And you can put these things in. There's a quick interface. You can do it while driving, um, and they removed the ability to report police on the other side and certain types of objects on the road. I think just objects on the road on the other side, or objects on the road entirely. I forget. I read this a while ago. Um, yeah. So the issue can be resolved by opening Waze manually on the smartphone. So this one, they're talking about some folks who are using Android Auto are unable to, or CarPlay, are unable to get the night mode. So you get a nice bright, wine, blinding map in the middle of the night. And so if that happens to you, you can open up Waze manually on your phone or switch to Google Maps temporarily. CarPlay, what CarPlay? Rivian owners are starting a petition to get CarPlay and Android Auto. Yeah, good luck. It didn't work for Tesla. So that was that, and so folks were asking, why can't I get Waze in my car? I guess that was the connection. I don't know. I saw it. I wanted to talk about it. That's why it's here. All right, so let's talk about heat pumps. Y'all know I like heat pumps. Carrier has launched a new series of high temperature heat pumps. So we're talking about heat pumps with capacities ranging from 30 kilowatts to 735 kilowatts with uh, fluorines as a refrigerant. And it looks like they're using it to heat water for the most part, but they are also spec for industrial use as well. And so, why would you need your water that hot, right? Well, if you have municipal hot water or municipal steam, now you can do it with a heat pump instead of coal or oil or whatever other fossil source you're currently using. And then, obviously, in industrial uses, if you're heating something other than water, or you're heating something with the water, like trying to melt metals, there we go. Let's see, developed 40 products with capacities ranging from 30 to 375 kilowatts, all which use the same hydrofluorines as refrigerant. In addition to harnessing heat from ambient air and the ground, the heat pumps capture wasted heat from a wide range of sources, including data centers, leisure facilities, hotels and restaurants, processed water, flue gases, and sewage systems. The manufacturer said heat collected can be used for comfort heating and domestic hot water production in large buildings and facilities. One of the products, the 410 kilowatt Aquaforce 61 Charlie Alpha, an air source heat pump, can reach a temperature of up to 82 C. The manufacturer said it is suitable solution for large buildings as well as local and district heating networks. Let's see. Offers power ranging from 410 to 735, and it can achieve temperatures up to 92 C. This solution is recommended for district heating networks and industrial process heating systems. So if you need to heat up something to like maybe bake cookies or dry out lithium ion wet cells. The Aquaforce 61 Charlie Whiskey Delta, a water source heat pump, has a power rating of 110 to 540 kilowatts. It can reach a temperature of up to 120 C. They talk about the screw compressors inside are being efficient for it. And the smallest product, the AquaSnap 61 Charlie Gamma, or Charlie Golf, is a water source heat pump, has a capacity of 30 to 130 kilowatts, and can be cascaded. So you can put them in serial uh, to 390 kilowatts. It can reach a temperature of 82 C and can be used for heat recovery in hotels, food processing sector, and pharmaceutical industries, while also supporting energy supplies and data centers. There you go. Wasn't meant to be an ad, but I like a good heat pump, and this is seeming novel, so there we go. So then we've got an article over on CNET about a couple that bought themselves an off-grid living environment, and it had some solar and golf cart batteries when it 6-volt golf cart batteries when they bought it. And Eric here talks about how he learned more about solar and how it taught him how to think about solar instead of as magic, but as hydrological. Think about it like water. And I'm gonna paste that article in the chat so you can read it later. And he points out that while he knew a little bit about solar before getting started, it points out that a lot of people don't really know much about some of these topics until they get to experience it firsthand, or they have somebody in their circles that can talk to them about it. So some of the ignorance that we're seeing around solar and EVs and green energy could be a simple lack of exposure and just a thorough misunderstanding. We obviously understand that they don't understand when you hear the stuff they say, but it's a bit of a journey, and the journey is a lot easier to partake when you have a stake in it. My 100% off-grid home in the New Mexico desert. I don't know if that's the same one or not. But I'll watch that later. All right, so those are the articles that I pulled up ahead of time for the show. Now I need to find. Oh, they're in the same window here. Went over to Electrek, or sorry, Inside EVs, and found some articles this morning that were interesting. Cadillac is offering over-the-air power upgrade for the 2024 Lyriq. So if you're familiar with the Speed Boost package on a couple Teslas, this works similar to that. So you're going to reduce your 0 to 60 time from 4.7 seconds to 4.4 seconds. I think BMW also offers something similar. Anyway, you purchase that, and then the next time your car communicates with the server, it shuts down, reboots, and it's faster. Let's see if they have a price listed on this thing. Um, so with the 2024 Lyriq, performance could be even greater. Purchased via $1,200 over-the-air software update, the Velocity package gives the Lyriq all-wheel drive a performance upgrade. While it doesn't increase the horsepower, the Velocity package increases the torque from 450 foot-pounds to 524. This bump cuts the 0 to 60 time by 0.3 seconds to 4.4. When purchased, the upgrade will automatically install the driver's vehicles. And people are like, oh, $1,200 for something the car could already do, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I would prefer not to have microtransactions or software unlocks of this nature. It's really twofold. One, if you don't get them, it makes the car cheaper. And two, if you're going to be using the extra power, there's now a chance of a warranty situation. So price into that is a little bit is Cadillac's risk that you'll now need to use your warranty on the drive motors, the battery, and to get this same kind of performance boost in combustion cars, people spend a lot more money than this for less performance than this. Just saying. So, if you do want to go a little bit faster, it's not really all that expensive, all things compared. And it's still under warranty because it's not a mod. It's like a factory performance option, but you don't have to go back to the dealer to get it. So all the same things that people say about the Tesla about whether they like it or dislike it should apply here to the Lyriq. Let's see what these comments get to. Tesla did many free over-the-air upgrades for their earliest customers. Some were fun, silly Easter eggs and such, but some offered measurable improvements, such as it was a refreshing change from the Legacy's planned obsolescence approach and created evangelistic fans. Cadillac has sold so few Lyriqs that could easily do the same, but so on that same vein, yes, Tesla has actually done performance upgrades for free, but they've also charged for them in other cases. Like the launch Model 3 had a range of 310 miles EPA when it launched, and they upped it to 325 miles for free. Some of the Model S's, my Legacy was just too far out. Some of the Model S's, they did a free speed upgrade on like the 90Ds and 75Ds, and they just got faster. And then with the Model 3, they offered the Speed Boost package, and it was similar to this. I think it was more substantial than just 0.3 seconds. I think it was like a sixth of a second, or sorry, 6/10 of a second, or a second and change. And it was a similar price. I think it was under $5,000. Let's see. They've been adding features and updates for free. That's an upgrade. Tesla's also offered the exact same package for their Model Y. Acceleration boost 2,000 for 0.5 seconds faster 0 to 60 time. Yeah, so the Model Y had it too. Model 3 definitely had it. Yeah, consumers would like to see a 6 to 7% reduction in the MSRP and blow off the 6 to 7% reduction in 0 to 60 time. And since the objective physical properties are variable on any given day, with crosswinds, traction, tire wear, and just road maintenance condition, the road will affect 0 to 60 time. So that OTA upgrade is gimme BS. That means nothing but a 7% price drop in MSRP. It's money that consumers bank. Hello, GM, get with the program, or someone else will do it without your blessings or permission. So this person hopefully said the same thing when Tesla did it. Under 60,000, what's your rambling complaint? All right, so let's get from them sniping at each other. Model Y did the same thing with performance upgrade OCA. Yep. Lyric is reasonably priced as is relative to its competition. Unlike the new Blazer, it doesn't need a price cut. Maybe. Yeah, I will not be taking your advice as saving 7% of my dime is more important than proffering, giving nothing to a salesman's pitch, backing out the door price for whatever. I'll tell my grandma. I'm sure she'll be thrilled. Actually, if I told my grandma, "Hey, your car could be a little bit faster," she might consider it. Preview of the future. Yes. So another view of the Tesla crash test rollover vehicles that we talked about. Um, I'm guessing I forgot I had it in the notes, or maybe I wanted to look at the comments. I don't remember why I pulled it up again. Given the strength of the truck, I wonder what the apparatus looked like. I'll tell you what it looked like. It was a sled, and then a dirt berm, and then some dirt. uh, Let me type that in. Sled. All right, let's see. Right after the first video snippet shows another vehicle in front of this one that has a cover on it. Why didn't this beat up rolled over Cybertruck have a cover on the car carrier? Maybe it wasn't beat up, or maybe uh, Tesla didn't want to share that particular crash. And yes, you are onto something. Could it be the old adage that any press is better than no press at all? Giga press is, of course, better than any press. That was kind of funny. Needs a little duct tape here and there to get it back on the road again. Come on now. We don't know that that's how Texas operates. I've heard good stuff about Texas cars. Looks like the air suspension is toast. At least the driver wasn't toast. And the passengers, of course. Good as new. I could have done this test for them for free. all I need to do is hold my beer. Strangely covered the brand new truck in the parking lot in front of their factory and didn't even bother to cover the crashed ones. Because they don't want the new ones scratched. Possibly. I'm all for minimalism, but that rear door, holy moly, is that really what the rear doors will look like from the inside? As this is an official crash vehicle, it has been in production trim. I'm guessing that, yes, that is what the interior will look like. All right, so let's see. I didn't even notice. Yeah, that is pretty plain, but it doesn't look that much different than like a Model 3 or even a Model X. I think what is different for them is the height of this upper part is quite substantial compared to Model X is around here. I'm guessing the Model 3 is down around here. And then because this is a still frame from a potato cam, you can barely see that there's like a little bit uh, the cyber pressings in here to make it look a little more like it belongs. I wanted to get back where we were with all that scrolling. Can take the opposite opinion, not from a minimalism stance, but from a hardly anyone's going to ride there most of the time stance. Yeah, and if they are, they're probably children. Majority of existing parking lot Princess dual cabs on the road are still empty most of the time, and I don't imagine Cybertruck will be that much different. This is true. Not worth investing money in making pretty doors that will sit unused the majority of the time. I know it'll never happen, but I wish there would be some kind of extended cab version with a smaller bench seat and cabin and a longer bed. Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yes. In Texas proper, you have extensive metalworks, Martin Brothers Customs. They might even be able to find an actual paint that would adhere to stainless steel body panels. Joe himself has done some very nice graphics of paint jobs on motorcycles and trucks. Cybertruck with 10-layer flames and 10 layers of clear coat would be inspiring. I mean, it's a blank canvas. Clearly, there was some diagnostics recording equipment installed in the vault. See the duct tape on the front wall. Yeah, there usually is. The vault floor and sides are not 3 millimeter stainless steel because of the stamped look. Look like composite, but could be steel. Anyone know for sure? Also, the stainless steel trim over the doors looks pretty thin, which is okay, but definitely not 3 millimeters or structural. We'll see after it gets torn down what's structural and what's not. Is it just me, or is it hard to tell the difference in the panel caps? Crash or something? Oh, ways with the panel caps. At least once those disc tray panels have been bent during sundry accidents. They might have been less prone to flutter at high speed. I don't know. All right, so that's enough of the comments. Bent roofs. Gonna need a big bowl of popcorn for this discussion. I can't believe how almost every panel is worked. I mean, it rolled on its sides. Expecting a lot more strength. Eh. If the car doesn't dissipate the energy amongst itself, it's going to dissipate it into your body. And that's why we have crash tests. Chevrolet Bolt EUV charging cords have been recalled over electric shock risk. Over 10,000 cars are affected, and most of them are in the United States. So, if you have a Chevrolet Bolt, look out for, let's see what they say we should look out for. These cords were shipped as part of an accessory package with certain Chevrolet Bolt EUV vehicles because of a software issue that may lead to an electric shock while handling the cord. Software issue. Does it like it fails the isolation checks or does them wrong? In this letter of acknowledgement to the NHTSA, first spotted by Car Scoops, GM said that 10,825, you might as well have said 11,000, not 10,000, were produced. Okay, so 9,423 of them being shipped in the United States. Specifically, the charging cords for certain 2022, 2023 Bolt EUV vehicles are potentially affected by the recall, but cars made after September 22nd, 2022 are not impacted as they were shipped with updated charging cords. Oh, because you can have a 2023 at the end of September. That's why. The recalled items are part of the third generation Webasto portable charging cords that have part number 24044,913. According to GM, these charging cords contain incorrect software and may fail to discontinue charging if the ground connection is lost. That's how. So it's not something that's going to shock you right away, but if it becomes unsafe, then it might not check again, and then you get your shock at up to 240 volts. Furthermore, if an electric shock were to occur, the company says that it would be very brief, 1/40th of a second, in limited circumstances. That's comforting. You should not be shocked by your equipment. Owners of affected Bolt EUVs will be notified via email or regular mail, and dealerships will inspect charging cables and replace them if needed, free of charge. Vehicles that are still in inventory will also be inspected and held until replacement parts are available if they fail the inspection. It's worth noting that Chevrolet Bolt EV is not part of this recall. Only the Bolt EUV is concerned. GM's recall number is November 232-407-3000, while NHTSA campaign number is 23 Echo 065000. Owners can contact GM customer service at 888-988-7267 for more details. And then you've got your battery recall that has already existed and blah, blah, blah history. So if you have a Bolt EUV or a friend with an EUV from 2022 to 2023 model year, have them check out that part number on their home charger cable situation. If anyone has one of these charging cords that actually continues charging, if the ground connection is lost, it might be quite valuable. Adding a ground connection to my garage was quite the ordeal because it was wired in ancient times. I had to run an extension cord from my house for the first 6 months. It should be no more dangerous than all the other electrical devices that have ever been used in these little structures. Oh, I see. Somebody who actually wants it, not for like lawsuit scams, but like so they don't have to redo their wiring. Yeah, safety first. Dan says Bolt can't catch a break. It sure can't. Although it did come back from cancellation at some nebulous time in the future. So a little bit. How does this strike me as doesn't how this doesn't make as much splash as Tesla cord can shock you. News at 11 because GM advertises in these same places. So um, they're responsibly more measured than a company that doesn't advertise with them. And although Tesla is now advertising, um, clearly they aren't in these places that are still blown it up. At least the parts are not falling off, and the RAM stays on the outside as the car goes down the road, unlike some other EVs. I'm guessing RAM was rain. Next, Tesla Cybertruck release candidate spotted up close at Las Vegas Supercharger. So there it is, charging at its charge port. The cable is stretched to the max. It's going to be interesting when that's rubbing there and it's hot. Let's see. Spotted while charging his battery. Short video. It's embedded here. I think the caught our attention was the pickup was parked very close to the stall itself, and with the tow hitch attached, it almost touched the Tesla vehicle charging only sign. Uh, this coupled with the position of the charge port next to its rear left wheel makes the cable stretch quite a bit compared to the Model Y, which has the charge port next to the stoplight. The problem lies with Supercharger V2 and 3 cable length, which doesn't seem sufficient for the size of Cybertruck. Luckily, V4 is on the way, with multiple stations already operational in Europe, which has the longer cable measuring about 10 feet. This should be more than enough for multiple Cybertrucks charging at the same time. Then there's the RC build engineering prototype lettering on the side of the tailgate, plus multiple wires that are glued to onto the bodywork, which states the obvious that this isn't quite a production-ready unit. Yeah, last time we saw this on the Model 3 while it was supercharging, they were really close. Like within a month after this, it was on sale. All right, so let's look at the video and then breeze through the comments.
Yeah, Cybertruck charging. It's got a bunch of wires on it. They got a tow hitch. Texas manufacturer license plate. Dude, wish you could tell me more, bro.
I can't even tell you that. Wow. Go back. One thing I wanted to point out is that the on the prototype, the camera, the repeater camera, well, it's not really a repeater camera in this case because there's no LED on it, but the camera here on the fender, it was covered in glass. And on these latest revisions that we're seeing around, they are not covered. They're very much like what we currently have on all the existing AP2 and up cars where the camera's just kind of out in the elements. I mean, there's a glass lens, yes, but there was another piece of glass over all of this on the prototype. All right, let's go to those comments real quick. Tired of this advertising technique of setting up random appearances with influencers. Just release it and cut the crap. Historically, RC was radio-controlled micro vehicles. Not necessarily. Remember, Tesla's a tech company, so release candidate makes sense. All right, Tesla launches auto steer on city streets for FSD. The feature was listed as coming soon for years on the company's website. So this, I think we already talked about. Let's see if Inside EVs has something different about it than what we discussed. We discussed basically they just took it off the coming soon, and then obviously it's going to need a future update to actually show up in the regular cars. Your car will be able to drive itself almost anywhere with minimal driver intervention and continuously improve. They might also be talking about FSD beta because now anybody can get it. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's the same thing we were discussing. So nothing new from the last time we talked about it. So this one, we'll see if needs picking apart or if it's accurate. The Cybertruck's maximum ride height has been revealed in the latest spy images. Tesla claimed in 2019 that Cybertruck's maximum ground clearance would be 16 inches. And if it's what I think it is, there's going to be a Cybertruck getting on a truck next to a Cybertruck that is not lined up to get on the truck yet at a normal height, and the other one will be at what appears to be a Tesla max height suspension, but is unverified. Okay, so no, it doesn't have any pictures. Unless they embedded a tweet, and then it won't work. Yep. Yeah, see there's a gap here. Pictures reveal gaping wheel arches. So never mind. Until Inside EVs gets their embeds right, it doesn't work in this browser. All right, so for all you people who've encountered the sea lion talking about, what about the dead batteries? They're going to throw them in the landfill. Blah blah blah. They're not. Look at that in Vegas. Yeah, there's a lot of them in Vegas. I think I've seen now like 6 of them. So if you happen to see any, take a picture and send them our way. Nissan starts selling portable power source with old Leaf batteries. The 32-pound generator has 2 reclaimed battery modules. Interesting. It's co-branded with Kenwood. Interesting. My dad had a Kenwood home audio system when I was a kid. It was cool. All right, so there's Nissan on top, Kenwood on the front. All right, we've got 2 AC ports, a couple DC ports, USBs. All right, so Nissan, in cooperation with JVC Kenwood, that's why I haven't seen them anymore. They merged. JVC Kenwood Corp and 4R Energy Corp have developed a portable power source that uses reclaimed modules from old Leaf hatchbacks in a bid to offer second life for the used high voltage EV batteries, according to the AP. The 32-pound or 14.4 kilogram portable generator incorporates 2 modules from a first generation Nissan Leaf and sells for $1,100 or 170,500 yen in Japan. But details about the capacity were not published. And plans for shipping the power source overseas are also unknown. By the look of it, the unit has 2 high power outputs, 2 USB-A and 2 USB-C outputs, 12-volt socket, and what seems to be a solar power input. JVC Kenwood says that a prototype of the consumer battery generator was released in April of 22, and that the development was accelerated to make the prototype viable mass-produced item. A first-gen Nissan Leaf battery module was rated at 64 amp hours when new, meaning that a 2-module setup in theory would have a total capacity of 128 amp hours. See, this is why you don't measure batteries in amp hours. Measure them in watt hours. That's 28,160 or 28.16 kilowatt hours. 28.1 kilowatts at a nominal voltage of 220 volts or 1480 watt hours or 14 kilowatts at a voltage of 110 volts. In other words, the appliance that draws 1 kilowatt of power at 110 volts will deplete the pack in 14 hours. Huh. Oh, so they're talking about these 2 module packs, not the Leaf big pack. That's kind of cool. Bennett says that's pretty cool. I wondered about the price, but it looks and sounds cool. And the price seems reasonable when you consider the amount of storage they're saying that this thing has in it. It blew my mind to find out that Nissan basically controls the Mitsubishi car brand. And that is part of why Mr. Goen had to go, because the the whole group uh, didn't all want to be under the Nissan control and his, so they set him up to go when new, exactly when new. But I'm wondering then, are these binned? Like, do they just pick out the better ones and say, hey, here's the power pack, or do they have like a minimum rating and some people get really lucky and have a better rating on these portable power packs than was advertised? Oh, those are big then. Yes, agreed. uh, let's see. I was thinking Jackery and EcoFlow and Bluetti usual sizes. Yeah, me too. But I guess modules rather than cells. I was thinking cells the way they were describing it, but modules make sense. Shunk, shunk. Because they put the whole pack in those grid storage batteries, so it's not unreasonable. Plus, taking the module out is a lot less labor intensive than taking the cells out. These are closer to Powerwall, maybe. Um, I would say more like the stationary, like the EcoFlow power kits and the Bluetti home backup modules, rather than the ones you would take on a picnic. Although the picture looked like the picnic version. Let's see. Uh, these being used packs we're talking about, the capacity might be lower than 64 amp hours, so the time it takes to deplete them might also be shorter. Yes, but again, we need to see some sales materials to see how they're selling it. Like, are they saying, just here's the capacity, and some people get lucky and it's higher, or here's the capacity, and then they've actually measured to make sure that's what it gets? There's a number of ways Nissan can roll with this, and that's intriguing. Uh, In any case, interesting to see that even though old EVs might be headed to the junkyard, their batteries can live on other devices for more years to come. Yeah, I mean, like literally, you can point any of those people saying, "Oh, they're going in landfill." You put them straight at this article. It's like they're not dead yet. Nissan said in 2019, the Leaf batteries have the potential to outlast the vehicle by up to 12 years, considering the vehicle's 10-year average lifespan. So, 22 years in service. These battery packs. That's incredible. That means that a high voltage battery that has an expected life of 22 years, be it powering the vehicle it came in or other consumer tech. According to the Japanese automaker, over 650,000 Leaf units have been sold worldwide since the Leaf debuted in 2010. As always, we'd like to know what you think about this, so head over to the comments and give us your thoughts. 32 pounds is definitely a picnic footprint. Yeah, but 32 pounds, I'm not sure. I haven't dealt with any of the smaller units. I've got my Zendur and my EcoFlows, they're all 100 pounds each. So they're not the picnic modules, but they're not the biggest models either. Um, interesting. Let's see what the comments say about this. Measuring voltage on one side of the inverter transformer and measuring amp hours on the other is going to be a boon for EVs. Now we need to measure the hours from a spacecraft traveling near the speed of light while orbiting a black hole, and we've got infinite power. Before selling out their battery operations, it was contractually obligated to use Nissan batteries in Leafs. Now there's no contract where those batteries come from. Oh, they're talking about the Nissan battery factory that they sold out of. They had a couple factories to make their batteries. Could you imagine a world where you can get a 14 kilowatt hour battery that weighs 30 pounds? Yeah, that would be awesome. Uh, that would be amazing. And think about this, though, because the Powerwall is a 14 kilowatt hour pack. So there's something amiss in the translation with this. Because as we saw, the old the Powerwall 2 was over 200 pounds. And what did we say the Powerwall 3 was at the beginning of the show? Heavier. All right, so I read the original article, and it says that this thing uses 2 of the 48 modules that a Leaf has. So that would be cells, because I don't think it has 48 big modules. I'm not sure which generation and how many remaining capacity, but let's assume 45 kilowatt hour pack, which makes these power stations about 1 kilowatt hour, which is not bad. And would also make them weigh about 30 pounds. Similar to what you get from EcoFlow, like a River or Delta 2 or the Jackery. Um, what you get from EcoFlow, I like the idea of repurposing old batteries, but it has some serious concerns about the reliability of these packs over the long term. I don't blame you for that. The person who wrote this article needs to go back and study Ohm's law. Oh. The arithmetic is all wrong, but just the idea that something the size of 14.4 kilograms of mass could store 28 kilowatt hours would be a tip off to anyone with knowledge of EVs and batteries that can't be right. Uh, that would be 2 kilowatt hours a kilogram at the pack level, which is at least 10 times more than the best new packs, all using old leaf modules. Unbelievable. Get rid of the article or rewrite with correct arithmetic. Yeah. Article needs to be rewritten or retracted. The math is all wrong. Modules are not the same as packs, and this is a very small and expensive power source made from a small fraction of a leaf battery pack. So on the cell level, if it's just 2 leaf cells, you might want to shop around. But if they price them in line with what it can do in addition to the storage, like the outputs and the inputs, it might still be worth it. But it's not far off at $1,000 ish. 2 Gen 1 leaf modules is around 500 watt hours for 4 cells. Okay, so they are still modules. And there would be 48 of them. I was thinking that their prismatic cells were much larger, like the GM ones of today. 2 Gen 2 8 cell modules would give you a kilowatt hour or 8 cells. Nominal voltage of 3.65 volts. 3 to 4.15 volts. Original amp hour capacity of 66.2. Dimensions of 11.93 inches, or let's just do millimeters. 303 millimeters by 223 millimeters by 35 millimeters, weighing 3.8 kilograms or 8.38 pounds. So yeah, this person is mixing up cells, modules, and packs. See, sometimes the comments are nice and wholesome, and other times they fight with each other. Bennett says 1 kilowatt hour for $1,000 makes the numbers normal again. But at that price nowadays, you get LFP battery. Exactly, and Bennett would like Bennett is saying, an LFP battery doesn't care if you hold it at 100%, unlike the Nissan Leaf battery, and it's got a wider operating temperature range. And yes, it's a little bit heavier, but it's more robust in this type of use and abuse that a portable power pack is going to take. Yeah, 3,000 cycles remaining versus used leaf cells. Hard choice. Yeah, the same price, absolutely. But if they were to sell this thing for like $250 or $500, it might be convincing. It might be. All right, so that's not related at all to what we're talking about, and neither is this other one. So let's just go cruise electric real quick, and then we'll call it a day. Powerwall 3 we talked about. Bike at the throttle. Apple Maps EV routing coming to the Ford F-150 Lightning later this year. And if you use Google Maps and you haven't already told it that you have, yeah, exactly, 250, I'd be in on that too. If you use Google Maps already and you have an EV or hybrid, they have a eco routing to save you fuel for your hybrid, hydrogen, propane, or EV. You just tell them what fuel you have, and they'll pick appropriate routes. Tesla's upcoming $25,000 car and Robotaxi are both futuristic looking and Cybertruck-like. And there goes that Mazda again for whatever reason. Photos up. Believe it or not, you can buy your own electric boatmobile. Here's how much money you'll get with the IRA. This Chinese electric vehicle concept is an SUV and a pickup truck all in one. So it's a Chinese version of the Kia version of the Camaro. Nikola trucks can't stop catching fire as fourth occurs. This is worth looking into. Another Nikola truck has caught fire in Phoenix today. It's the fourth fire incident involving Nikola trucks in just a few months, yet as the company insists they are safe to drive. The situation is quite strange. The company was quick to tell the public it believed foul play was involved in this fire. Wait, that was the last fire. Is there another one? Okay, so today a fourth incident occurred, again taking place at their headquarters in Phoenix. Neighbors of the facility contacted Electric to tell us that a Nikola truck was visibly on fire at the facility. We contacted Nikola about the incident, and the company released this statement that downplayed the incident as involving an engineering validation battery electric truck. Maybe. On Friday at approximately 8:30 a.m., there was a thermal incident, a fire, with one engineering validation battery truck near Nikola's Phoenix headquarters. No one was injured. This pre-production truck was outside and undergoing battery fire investigation testing. We thank Phoenix first responders for their quick action, and we will share more information as we learn more. I have. Hey, good evening, Anders. Good to see you. Good evening. So I have issues with this statement that Nikola has made here. If you were planning to fire test an engineering sample, you would have either the fire department on hand or a fire suppression company on hand. And hopefully it wouldn't be on fire long enough for people to be letting news agencies know or bloggers know about the fire they see, because you'll see, oh, it went up in fire, up in flames. Let's extinguish it now. And again, if you were trying to catch it on fire, you would then also need to thank the fire department for their quick action and then share more information later. You should have some preliminary data on hand if this was a planned test. Dan said they need better security if it was foul play. There was that, but also not only did we find out that it wasn't foul play, they didn't behave as if it was foul play. They weren't showing the footage like, "Hey, can you find a guy in a ski mask?" They weren't doing any of the stuff that other folks who've had foul play would do. All right, so let's see what Electric says to this. It could be scathing. All right, so the comment says, "OMG, Nikola's announcement that they are recalling their BEV trucks over potential fire risk with the battery is hilarious. They tell their customers to park the truck outside, get better connectivity for over-the-air updates, in case it catches fire. Not in case it catches fire." So that was a Fred tweet. So that wasn't a comment. That was a Fred tweet. Um, if you've been following me on X, you might know that I predicted this is likely the end of Nikola. The only way I saw them surviving this is if they would handle the recall perfectly, and it looks like this is far from the case. The recall notice asks owners to leave the car outside of the truck, outside to get better connectivity for over-the-air updates, and not because the vehicles are at risk of catching on fire. That's damning. Yeah. This is ridiculous. The recall documents on the NHTSA website haven't been updated since the last two incidents. I hope the agency is all over this because it looks to me like Nikola is more concerned with its plunging stock price than with the safety concerns that have come with its trucks catching on fire. Finally, I hope that it's clear to the market that this is not an indication that zero emission trucks don't work, just an example of a poorly managed company. Yeah, that part. Nikola and Bolt related. No, 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 no. The Bolt accidentally had manufactured cells in it, and according to the whistleblowers, the Nikola had purposely or negligently mismanufactured cells in it, allegedly. Um, yeah, I think Fred is right. This could be bad. One, make sure that you disconnect from your loads, and two, park the cab outside when you're not driving it, and three, put a smoke detector in it. Um, the good thing is that none of the Nikola trays that are out there now have the sleeper cabs, so unless you're just prone to taking a nap across the rear shelf with maybe a sleeping bag, or maybe putting a cooler in between the two seats. I don't know how you would end up, or maybe to lean back and sleep in the most uncomfortable position. I don't know. I think it's a blessing that they don't have the sleeper cab yet, and This also proves that the company just can't get their relationship with the truth straight. Like they're still stretching and twisting. They're not outright lying like they were with their old CEO at the helm, but they haven't done much improvement. I'd like to see them succeed, but they're not doing everything they can. Bennett says, "Good question. I forget where the cells come from." So they bought a company, and the whistleblower said that the company was puncturing the cells as they were manufacturing them, and or maybe not necessarily puncturing them, but welding them incorrectly to the point where they were pierced. And then Nikola bought the company, and rather than now that they're not arm's length transactions between two different companies, they they're alleged to have become a little lax in the testing and monitoring before putting cells in the vehicle, implying that they have fixed it on the new cells, but they're still putting the old ones in because it's cheaper. Allegedly, exactly. Oh man, if you have any of these in your company, just be careful with them. That's all I can say. Make sure that when the update does come through, get it done. And for two reasons to park your truck outside, as Fred said: one, to get the eventual update, and two, to make sure that if it does catch fire, it doesn't light any of your other assets on fire. And make sure your insurance is paid up. Anything new about the Hyundai ICCU recall? Mentioned it was very quiet. Let me finish scrolling through this real quick, and then we'll go take a look at it because I'm not familiar with that one either. EVs and hybrids now make up 16% of U.S. light-duty vehicle sales. This is who's buying them. Humans. Humans are buying them. Volkswagen Sporty ID.X performance show car is an all-electric sports limousine. Bird Bike drops to $739. Goshen is bringing a $2 billion EV gigafactory to Illinois, creating thousands of jobs. There we go. Volvo preps for an all-EV future with plans to shift U.S. and Canadian workforce, which they already told us they were going to do the shift, so it would make sense that they would also shift their workforce. I don't know if Electric is going to say it or not, but Tesla is going to be back at the Detroit Auto Show for the first time in years, and our friend Mark Coughlin will be there. So the show for Wednesday will be later than typical. In fact, it'll be at the time that the What Drives the Show usually comes on, and then Mark will report. I think he'll be back in his office at that point, so he'll report on the show from his office. Let's see. Xpeng offers its first camoed glimpse at the upcoming X9 multi-purpose vehicle. A minivan. Nothing wrong with minivans either. Benz launched a BYD-powered EVs to keep pace with Tesla and other Chinese makers. Hyperbike Ranger, fat tire bike. As we saw last week, though, talking about the fat tire bikes and their rate of theft. Be careful. Cattle and Wallways Premium EV. The Tesla milestone we talked about. Ohio-based electric motorcycle maker raises $7 million to build bikes in the U.S. I'm hoping that means bikes as in motorcycle bikes and not bikes as in bicycles. We've got plenty of e-bikes, but not enough motorcycles. I'm not saying that they can't make an e-bike, but if they already make motorcycles, I'd like to see some more electric motorcycles. Powerwall 3 we talked about. Oh, yeah, Greenworks we talked about in the past, but we didn't talk about today. They've unveiled new e-bikes, go-karts, EUTV, and they all run on the power tool batteries. That's pretty cool. And as we discussed at the time that we talked about Greenworks last time, basically, if it goes in your garage, they want to put a battery in it and run it. And I'm for that. All right, Cybertruck rollover. Lotus Emya, first four-door Hyper GT that goes 0 to 100 kilometers in under 2.8 seconds. EV9 sales have slowed by premium prices and quality issues ahead of the US debut. That's not good. Just going to ramp up production. Why am I just scrolling through this? Just to see if anything stands out. We talked about the blind spot, and I just have a feeling there's something I missed. Still in the game, week with the Nissan Aria. Blazer order request opened with 2LT and RS all-wheel drive trims first available. Oh yeah, this is one I knew I missed. The Mustang Mach-E Rally has been shown off. I don't know if it only comes in this color, but they have a special mode where you can do drifting easier. And hey, I like it. More opportunities for uh, just finding a market, like getting there's a car out there for everybody. Dan says nothing wrong with a minivan. I'm for it too. Module multi-use battery pack. Yeah. Ego is another good one. And I don't know if it was on the show or not. I pointed out that I like to use the EVgo batteries, and somebody else had pointed out that it's not the same chevron as the gas company. It's a different chevron, a Chinese company. $2 to $3 billion battery factory for U.S. Or for electric trucks is coming to the U.S. That's cool. Mullen receives NASDAQ determination and now faces a stock delisting. Oh boy. Mullen Automotive hit an all-time low Wednesday following a delisting determination by NASDAQ for failure to maintain a minimum stock price of $1. This comes as the latest blow to the company. It's been consistently sparring with financial firms and analysts lately. Is now being delisted altogether. Well, not much fighting you can do. You got to get your price up. Approaching its 10-year anniversary while still working to bring its first passenger EV to market. Well, I hope they make it. Oh, we talked about them recently when this truck was coming out, and then that was something that folks had mentioned about their stocks being weak. Yeah. Oh, there we go. The Hilton deal, Honda. Oh, this one was pretty cool. Greenbacker owns nearly 1 gigawatt of solar. They made a deal to recycle it all. So at the end of life of their solar panels in their solar farm, they will recycle the panels. So just like we talked about for the people whining about, what about when the batteries are dead? Well, same thing with the panels. When the panels are dead, they can be recycled. At the moment, not every company has committed to this, though. But this is a good start. And in fact, once the market becomes available, then you might see the recyclers reaching out to people. Hey, we've got a vig or a deposit or price on all the panels. So bring us your panels. We'll help you out. Hey, baby. Hi. How was your nap? You want to say hi to everybody? Yeah, she's waving to you. Wave again. You wearing your doctor's outfit? Yeah. What'd you dream about? Oh, you did. You feeling rested? Yeah, I've got snacks. You want some snacks? Okay. We got peanut butter crackers. Would you like one? There you go. You have a peanut butter cracker. Yeah. Okay. Tesla Giga Mexico might be coming way later than expected. There's a leak from Walter Ising's book, and we'll see what happens with that. And we talked about the electric bikes, so I guess that means we're caught up with electric. So now we need to look for what did you say, Bennett? The ICCU recall. Open a fresh tab and take a look. Down? Do you want to? Okay. It was getting wiggly, so I figured she wanted to get down, and I was right. Monday. ICCU. Dan says something changed. Maybe he had a good nap. Let's see here. Hyundai Ioniq 5 ICCU failures investigated. The integrated charging control unit, newly developed circuits. Good find, Bennett. So over at carcomplaints.com, June 20th, 2023, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 ICCU, which is the integrated charging control unit failures, have caused at least 30 complaints, and a federal investigation has been opened by the TSA. The failure allegedly causes a loss of motive power, a loud pop noise, and a warning on the dashboard. That's not good. I wonder if this is what a company that won Ionic we saw failed at the Electrify America charging station. Although this description sounds like everybody else had their experience while they were driving. I was doing a 3-point turn in the driveway and I heard a pop sound from under the rear seats. A warning light came on the dash. After a little bit of time, the warning changed into an error that stated, "Pull the car over and do not drive." Wow. Yeah, so if you ever get a "do not drive" message from your car, get it over as safely as possible and get out, because it could be on fire. And that thankfully wasn't the case in any of these, but ever since Tesla, they've always been very understated about how bad the problem could be. OBD sensor reported codes P1A90 and Papa 0 Charlie 17. The car also went into turtle mode, preventing it from being driven normally. Where did you get that snack? Thank you, sweetie. These are Daddy's favorite. You don't have to smush them. Can I have that one too? She said no. She said bye-bye. She brought me one, though. All right, so those towed to the dealer. We're stayed for 2 weeks, waiting for technicians to inspect the SUV. Hyundai says the failure was caused by the ICCU, which is responsible for powering the hybrid vehicle battery. So Hyundai, because of their legacy, they just called the traction pack the hybrid battery. And the low voltage 12-volt battery. Preliminary review indicates overcurrent within the ICCU can damage transistors, which are FET transistors, in the LDC, the DC-to-DC converter, resulting in the inability to recharge the 12-volt battery. And baby is demanding an iPad. Well, wife is demanding an iPad for baby. Car Complaints will update our websites with results of the failure investigation. So that's what we got. Well, that's something I need to keep an eye on. So thank you for that, Bennett. And I want to thank all of you guys for your time today. And I want to thank our channel members for your monetary support. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Thank you very much. Also, like I said, the Tesla Life show will be late on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern.